What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and today, day trading, I lost $220. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you probably are pretty surprised by this, and oh my goodness, just hit my light. It was honestly not the greatest day. I'm gonna explain what happened in just a second, but essentially I got down $1,800 right out of the gate because I didn't get the execution that I wanted. So I was positive 200 on a trade, didn't get filled, and that trade instantly went against me, and within 2 minutes I was down very big on that trade, and I spent the rest of the day digging myself out of that hole, and I kept making back some money and then giving it back and making back some money and giving it back. So it was just a very frustrating day all around. But honestly, I'm still pretty happy with the way that I traded because I was able to get it down from negative 1,800 all the way back up to, negative 220. It was actually negative 130 at one point, and I was trying to get back break even, so I took some riskier trades with like 5 minutes left in the day, and they did not work out. But it is what it is, guys. You cannot be green every single day, and as long as you stay disciplined and stick to your plan, there's no issue having small red days, because any green day that I have has been bigger than this red day today. Now, this is absolutely nothing like my red day on CCIV, where I took a $16.7 thousand loss. If you haven't heard about that, definitely go check out the video for that one. Just look up the Laptop Legend CCIV, but this loss was really nothing like that. So I want to explain what happened today, explain what opportunities I missed, why I destroyed myself from the beginning of the day, and there's actually a lot of stocks that were up a lot today. It feels like we got a little bit of momentum back, and it just stinks that I had to butcher it on a day like today. So hopefully you guys will find this video helpful in terms of a recap, so you can learn from my loss and how to prevent things like this in the future. And hopefully this video will be helpful in terms of what stocks to watch tomorrow, because there's a lot of things that are actually moving now. So if you find it helpful, please smash the like button. As always, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the Discord link in the description, because I'm calling out these plays live every single day, and that's pretty much it. So let's dive into my computer so I can explain how I screwed up. Alright guys, so I took my big loss on Humble right out of the gate, and I think I was a little too aggressive on this one, and I really learned my lesson. So here you can see that it was gapping down pretty darn hard in pre-market. I mean, this thing, it closed at what, 135-ish, and it was gapping down literally so hard. This thing already was down here, and that should have been a good sign that I didn't want to be too aggressive, because again, when something is already down so much, like, you don't want to short into a ton of red candles. Now, luckily, I was patient enough to not short right at open. I didn't short here at at 1.2, but I actually took my first short position at 132. So I took it right here after it was spiking up, a little bit. I took it after it was spiking up a little bit right here at 132, and it continued going. So I ended up cutting my losses at 134.5, so right here. But then I ended up, I think, reshorting here, and I tried to cover down here. And it did not fill me at all. It did not fill me at all. So instead of being positive 200, it ended up squeezing me all the way up here. I had 6,000 shares, and I ended up adding to my position at 148. I shorted another 3,000, so I had 6,000 for this entire run-up. Then now I have 9,000 shares short, and it keeps spiking on up, and I end up covering right at the top. I cover at 155.5, all 9,000 shares. It immediately dumps all the way back down, and then I end up shorting again at 144. It starts bouncing, so I cover at 146, and then at this point I'm just like, man, I just butchered that. So you can see in the first 7 minutes of the day, 8 minutes of the day, first 10 for sure, I was already down 1,800 on the day. And you might ask, David, why are you shorting this stock? I had someone comment yesterday, why in the world are you shorting Humble? As if any stock is off limits from shorting. Guys, again, I have nothing against Humble. I think Humble's a cool company. I think long term it's going to be pretty cool. But any stock that has potential downside, I'm willing to short for 5 minutes if I think there's an ability to capitalize on that. And again, I have no net impact on the stock, so don't get butthurt over me shorting this for a short amount of time. Now, I think the biggest issue that I did here was sizing in too big right at market open when transactions are delayed, executions are delayed. Everything is slower at market open, and you can't get the type of fills that you can, I guess a little bit later in the day. So I guess when all the orders are coming through, there's more delay. So literally I had a market buy open for a long time, and it was just trash, man. I just could not get filled at all. So you got to keep that in mind and really be extra careful, taking big size right at market open. And I think a lot of people expected this to sell off because it's literally sold off pretty much every day for the last, I don't know, last 3 weeks at open. It's just had a big red candle. So I think a lot of people were expecting that, and when it gapped down that much, people still shorted it, but then it turned into a mini short squeeze because everyone was expecting it to dump it open, but it did not. So I was basically digging myself out of the hole for the rest of the day, and I made back some on some of these moves, but it was a little choppy, you know, and I mean, I made back some. Again, I probably made back 1,000, maybe like 800 of the 1,800 on this, you know, catching some of these dumps. But overall, it was tricky, man. It was tricky. It was a tough day overall. But a lot of stocks were actually running. It actually felt like a lot of the OTCs were running, our former favorites. So OZSC, this thing bounced from 532 all the way and closed right at a high a day. May it have been a decent overnight long? It may have been, but in this market, I really don't trust it. So this one, I made some money shorting. Again, I'm still waiting on my freaking E-Trade account to get approved, to get that money transferred over. Hell annoying. I really would rather be going long on plays like this. Same thing with Humble when it starts doing that. I would rather be going long, but I can't, so I got to figure out where there are opportunities on the short side. So OZSC, really, it's back in play, man. AITX. It had a bounce. You know, it wasn't super impressive, but it did have a bounce. So this is trying to be back in play. AABB, this thing went pretty hard, man. This thing went pretty hard. And, you know, it's back in play as well. Closed right at those highs. A lot of stocks closed right at the highs. So it's pretty impressive. We had RGBP. This stock had a crazy day today. Again, big green day after that a bunch of red days in a row. So I like this. It means there's a lot more room on the short side. And again, I was making a lot of money on the short side, even though it's going up. So the higher it goes, the more money there is to be made on the short side when it's coming back down. So pretty cool. I like that. I enjoy that. INVU. This was another one that, you know, has been really beaten down. I mean, it's come all the way down from, what was it, 60 cents? No, 80 cents, bro. And again, I said it was overextended here, and I was shorting it up in here. I just, you know, obviously didn't hold all the way down here, but it had its first, you know, big green day. So a lot of stocks had big green days today. A lot of stocks. I didn't trade this particular stock, but I think the biggest takeaway for me, man, is you got to be careful at open and take into consideration the overall aspect of the charts. And I know I said that yesterday in terms of having patience for what is the word? Having patience for when you are in a long. You know, on that Humble dip buy that I absolutely butchered, I wasn't patient enough, and I didn't take into consideration the overall chart. And, you know, again, if I go back here, looking where it is, I mean, if it's down here, it's pretty likely it's going to bounce. You know, it's still pretty likely that it's going to bounce. I mean, still technically was a red day yesterday. So, I mean, it makes sense that it had a green day today. And the fact that it was selling off this hard before I could even get in is a pretty good sign that, like, yeah, this might create a short squeeze. So, I just need to be more careful. I can't speak. Careful. I need to be more careful. I'm like from, what is that, New York? Boston? New York, New Jersey. I sound like Dan. But yeah, I just need to be more careful taking big size right at open. And I think, especially in a market like this, I'm gonna size down at open because I feel like I'm pretty consistent throughout the day, and I make money back. And, you know, if I stay trading, even though I'll give some back and I'll make some and I'll give some back, overall, the more time I have to trade, the more money I make. That's pretty much been how it's been for me. So I'm not one of the people who ever thinks, yeah, there's not enough opportunities in this market, I'm just going to walk away. Because I think there's always opportunities, even if they are pretty dry. But it did feel like pulling nails today. So if I put myself in the situation where I'm not down a lot and, you know, I make 50 bucks here, I make 30 bucks here, I make 100 bucks here, it really adds up. And at the end of the day, I've made $1,000, I've made $1,500, I've made $3,000, etc. And, you know, I would have been up if not for that loss. Again, I was positive 200, and I ended up negative 800. So, I mean, negative 1,800. So, I mean, you do the math there. That's a pretty big flip, man. That's a pretty big flip. Honestly, now that I think about it. Yeah, I mean, if I had actually been 200 there, I was able to work my way back. I mean, it should have been like a $2,000 day. I mean, I pretty much made $2,000. So, I'm still happy with how I've been trading. I'm still happy with my system, but it is a little frustrating. So I got to not put myself in that position. If you guys had a similar thing happen to you today, I know probably a decent amount of people in the Discord got squeezed by Humble this morning. Pretty funny, actually, because, I mean, it was just down a lot, and it just absolutely squoze right at open. Just be smaller, you know? Take smaller size, right at open, because it's really hectic, and I know you want to, you know, capitalize on those opportunities, but you gotta keep in consideration the overall chart when you're doing that. You know, if you want to take big size with the overall chart on your size. Don't take big size shorting something that's super beaten down. Right at open when it's starting to spike right at open, because then it has, you know, the momentum to the upside. So just keep that in mind, and that's something that I'm planning on working on. And tomorrow, my goal is to size in very small in the beginning of the day so that I don't have to dig myself out of a hole. Because what I don't want to do is have multiple red days in a row and then, you know, start messing up my mental. Right now, I'm totally fine. But, you know, it's just something, the more red days you have in a row, the more you're going to start to question yourself and not have the self-confidence to pull the trigger on those great trades. See, the mental aspect is super important. So I'm sizing down tomorrow, especially at open. And we'll see how it goes, man. But I'm excited. We had some spikers today. BANT. I called this one out, and this one actually is probably the most frustrating play of the day for me, man. I bought BANT at 0.116. So I bought this right here, and I was in the Discord, and I called it out. If you can see where the volume floods in, it released some news, a press release in the middle of the day, and you know, I called this thing out in the Discord, and I bought it right here. Not big size. I bought 25,000 shares at 1.16, and if I zoom in, you can see a little bit more of what happened. So I bought it here. It spiked up here. I tried to lock in some gains at like 121, and then it came all the way back down, and I sold for a loss. At 112. I guess that's 111. I sold for a loss at 112. So I bought here, I sold here, it immediately ripped some more, and I could have easily, you know, made, I think, you know, 200 bucks on this pretty easily, and that would have put me green on the day because I was forcing it. I was only negative 130. So if I had not screwed this trade up, I would have been green on the day today. And those are some really frustrating plays because you never know what type of stock is going to spike up hard and keep running, or whether it's going to have one green candle when the news comes out and then absolutely die. So it's a little bit frustrating for me, but I'm going to try to be better about this in the future. And if I get in really early, I'll try to probably sell half with a limit order into the first green candle and then let the rest run. Because if I sold with the limit, this never would have happened. Because it instantly bounced from where I sold. So it's very frustrating, but this is just one of those plays, you know. SWRM. This is another one that actually had news midday. You can see the spike right here. I call this one out in the Discord as well. Actually, you know, this is a pretty good example of a stock that that spikes up and then absolutely dies. So I mean, you can see here, I think I bought right here, like at 1.19, and I ended up selling this up here like 2.19 or something like that, maybe 2.22. I forget the exact entries, but this is one of the ones where it has literally one green candle, and then it dies. So sometimes you need to take gains quickly. So it's kind of tough to know sometimes. But I think in this case, the reason that this one died so quickly is the fact that you can see this stock was already up a lot. You know, it was up from 1.2 cents up to 1.8 cents. So it was already up like 35, 40% on the day when the news came out, versus BANT really was not up on the day at all. It had no volume, it was doing nothing, and for that reason, you know, this was a better play, and I should have had more patience with it. So you got to take into consideration what the stock looks like beforehand, and that's something that I didn't do, and that's something that I will learn from in the future. So all these mistakes that I'm making, guys, we can learn from them and we can use them to make ourselves better traders. So I'm not mad about this red day, even though it is frustrating, and I would have liked to be green all month. LTNC, this thing was also spiking up today. Had a nice little panic dip buy. Had a lot of green candles. I shorted here. That was also part of how I made back some of my losses. That's pretty much it, guys. SIRC was, I think, still, no, that was yesterday. HMBL, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. Not a ton of things going on. I guess the last one, you know, that I guess I can tell you, MKTY. This is one that spiked up, got halted going up, and then resumed and just resumed at the same price. It didn't gap up at all and came crashing back down. I shorted it in this area. I shorted it at like 8.85 and I had to cover at like 8.93. I had 500 shares. I was trying to make back that remaining $100 and catch a crack below 880. And then in after hours, it just fades off. So it really stinks. If I had had more time on this, this would have been an easy win and I would have been back green again. But it just goes to show, you know, when you're trying to force a trade when there's not enough time left in the day, it rarely goes the way that you want it to if there's less than 10 minutes in the day. So again, I know this and I was expecting it to crack, but you know, I'm not too mad about it because I really didn't take that big of a loss. So I think it was worth the risk in this particular case. But anytime you get a stock like this that goes up and then comes back down and is just like kind of hovering there, it's kind of cool to be in short because if it cracks, it'll crack big, and a lot of times it'll just fade on back all the way down. So that could have been an easy you know, dollar share gain. So that's pretty much it, guys. I don't have much else for you, so hopefully you found it helpful. If you did and you made it to the end, I love you guys. It was a tough day, so we'll bounce back from this one, and remember to cut those losses quickly, man. Don't let them turn into big losses. That is all I have for you. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together.
Bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.